7 months ago, Cincinnati began their season with the mentality of having unfinished business. As the regular season comes to an end today, it's now time to fulfill that slogan. It's been an up-and-down season for the Reds, beginning with losing their cleanup hitter on opening day. Their opening day started to 3 DL stints and 2 of their main setup men for most of the season. The Reds have still put together a 90-win season and back-to-back playoff appearances for just the 4th time in team history. October baseball is every team's goal when the season begins. Now, as September ends, the Reds are ready for the postseason to begin in search of their 6th World Series championship. On this, the last day of the 2013 regular season, it's the first time this year that the outcome of this game doesn't mean anything in terms of the standings. But the Reds would certainly like to close out this series with a victory. It's the Reds and the Pirates here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi, and a pleasant good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Reds baseball on this final Sunday from Great American Ballpark. Jim Kelch along with Chris Welsh. Chris, I guess we sit back and have a collective sigh of disappointment over the way things went Friday and Saturday, but optimistic about the way things may go on Tuesday. But before that, one more game to get through.
Well, one more game to get through. Certainly Fan Appreciation Day here at the ballpark. It's always a big day, the last regular season game of the year. But you're always thinking towards Tuesday. I mean, I don't think anybody in that clubhouse is worried about what happened on Friday or what happened yesterday. They care about what's going to happen on Tuesday. So it's all geared towards next week in Pittsburgh. Nobody's thinking about already having lost 2 games to the Pirates.
Now, this is game number 162 of the year, and you look at the stat sheet and you find only one player for the Reds has played in all 162, that being Joey Votto, and he set some marks along the way.
Well, Joey Votto's season this year has had a real polarizing effect on the fan base. I mean, there's half the fans that say Joey Votto ought to drive in more runs, and the others are going to say, wow, look at the year that Joey Votto's had. 315 times on base, that's a franchise record. Franchise record for walks, on base percentage, 3rd highest in history, leads the league. I mean, you can't argue with the fact that Joey Votto is figuring out what kind of ball player he is. He wants to be a very efficient ball player, and I'll tell you what, he's having one of the best seasons you could ever ask for if you're a fan of efficiency. And that's where Votto is, and I think you take that out of Joey Votto just about every year of his contract.
Now, with the Pirates winning the first 2 games of this series, it's not surprising that both managers make changes for today's starting pitchers.
Well, they're all thinking about the playoffs, and that's why you're not going to see the regularly scheduled starters, Garrett Cole and Johnny Cueto. You're going to see Cueto, by the way, on Tuesday. You're going to see Brandon Compton. He has only pitched 1 time since he was recalled back in July the 20th. Greg Reynolds, 4 starts overall for the Reds. The right-hander is trying to etch his way into the mind of Walt Jocketty and Dusty Baker for next year.
Well, this has been a 90-win season for the Reds, and when we come back after this break, we will look at some of the highlights of the 2013 campaign. for a more extensive look on the weather, brought to you by Tri-State Orthopedics. Here's Josh Knight from WKRC.
After some sunshine early this morning, that cold front, it's on the way, so we are going to be looking at some showers for the game today. As we head into the midday, it's going to get here, and then it sticks around for us as well. So that's what we'll be looking at. It's not a lot of rain, but it's just enough that we do have to deal with it throughout the game. Right around 71 degrees as we head towards first pitch today, 72 for your high, staying mostly cloudy with those on and off spotty showers. So that's something that the players are going to have to deal with. Let's go Reds.
I mentioned this has been a 90-win season for the Reds, so there have been, of course, some big moments throughout the year, some highlights, and we'll go out throughout this game and take a look at those, including this one, the Great Eight reunite against the Dodgers.
Well, that was a spine-tingling weekend when you see the members of the Big Red Machine coming out, and it was an accurate ball game that Aroldis Chapman finished off with style with a sizzling fastball to end it in a win for the Reds. Pete Rose took third base. That brought the crowd to their feet. Tears coming out of the eyes of the icon Pete Rose. That was the kind of memory, Jim, I think those that were here and those that are able to watch it on television will never forget.
That was something to behold for sure that day here earlier this season. All right, we'll step aside. When we come back, the regular season finale. Cincinnati, Pittsburgh from Great American Ballpark. That's next. The 19th and final meeting, of course, between these two teams, and with that victory yesterday, the Pirates have won the season series. That means they get to host the wild card game on Tuesday, so they have won 10 of the 18 between these two clubs this year. And here's the change that Chris and I were talking about. Greg Reynolds gets the start today against this Pittsburgh ball club. Felix P.A. leads it off, and the first pitch misses for a ball, and we are underway. 71 degrees game time temperature here at GABP. For Reynolds, this is start number 5 as a member of the Cincinnati Reds this year. He started against San Francisco, he started against Milwaukee, against Colorado, and most recently down in Houston back on the 18th. So it has been almost 2 weeks, 11 days since he took the mound for Cincinnati. Definite difference in the lineups, Chris, in this game today for these two teams.
Well, perhaps a difference in the starting lineups, yeah, but I think by the end of the ball game, you're going to see both these teams looking like a spring training game where the extra guys are getting the bulk of the playing time. Dusty Baker said before the ball game that he'll put his regulars out there, but they'll probably only bat an at-bat or so, play a few innings, and he'll replace them. Wants to keep them sharp. I mean, both managers have their eyes on Tuesday, and that's the big thing on their mind right now, even though they've got one game left to play here today.
Felix Piet playing center field for this Pittsburgh club. Their normal center fielder, of course, is Andrew McCutchen, who is high in the voting for the National League most valuable player this year. Piet, been a part-time player with his club since coming up in late August. Is an 0 for 16 going here as of late as he leads things off. Greg Reynolds, remember, was supposed to start most recently the final game of that Mets series, but he was scratched in lieu of the start made in that game by Johnny Cueto. Despite the fact Cueto threw well, the Reds lost that game 1-0. There's strike 3 called, and so Piet's woes at the plate continue as he is run up. You look at the Pirates starting lineup put forth today by Clint Hurdle, Piet, Tabata, and Snyder. Alvarez the only regular in there, then John Buck and Garrett Jones, Jordy Mercer, Cincinnati native Josh Harrison, and Brandon Compton. There's Clint Hurdle. And you may not know fact about him. He was a Cincinnati Red back in 1982. Clint Hurdle played 19 games that year for Cincinnati. He's a guy that you know very well from your playing days.
Clint Hurdle and I went to the same tryout camp in Dodgertown. He was a high school senior coming out of Merritt Island, Florida. I was in college at University of South Florida, and he was the reason the Dodgers had this camp. Good left-handed hitter, one of the best high school players ever to come out of the state of Florida. Eventually drafted, I believe, by the Kansas City Royals in the first round, but we were not allowed to throw curveballs to Hurdle that day. They wanted to see how far he could hit the ball, and he could hit it a long way, but he had trouble with the curve.
Those are a nice play into the hole again. It's sweep tag by Votto, but they do not get Jose Tabata at first base, and so the left fielder of the Pirates is aboard with an infield single here in the first.
Tabata, there was a time that Tabata was the main man, the guy that they relied on not just to be an everyday player, but to be a middle of the lineup type player. A good effort by Cozart, even a good sweep tag effort by Joey Votto, and well, that's as close as you can get without getting them.
Great camera work right there on that super slow-mo. You can see the miss, and I know we talked about it, and you were able to see some of the folks behind the scenes that helped bring you Reds telecast throughout the course of the season earlier today, and we'll be talking about them as they go along as well, because they do a super job. Ludwig handles that fly ball for the second out. Take a look at the Reds defensively. Behind Greg Reynolds, brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Ludwig, Chu, and Bruce in the outfield. Frazier, Cozart, Izturis in place of Phillips at second, and then Votto on the infield. Reynolds caught by Devin Mesoraco. There's Izturis getting the start in place of Brandon Phillips today. If you watched it all yesterday, if you didn't, he fouled the ball off his left shin, and I mean, that thing popped up like a golf ball, didn't it?
It did immediately. He came in. He had some kind of a special pad on his shin today when he came to the ballpark, and he wasn't limping. It looked like he was pretty good shape. He says he'll be good to go for Tuesday.
Dusty said before Phillips left the ballpark last night, he had him come in and see him to see what it looked like. He said it looked much better then. They sent him home apparently with a machine to help get that swelling down, and apparently it's done the job pretty well. There it is today. Yesterday that thing would have been sticking out about 4 or 5 inches from his shin. Typical Brandon Phillips fashion. He told Dusty, if you need me today, I'm ready, I can play. But there's no real need today. I mean, you'd like to win this game, certainly. I don't know, you can talk from a player standpoint. Momentum wise, win today going into Tuesday or not?
I don't think there's anything at all about momentum carrying over from this weekend. I can tell you that these players are mostly focused on Tuesday. They know they have to play this game. Now you play this game for pride. You play it hard. You try to get your hits. You try to make your pitches. And you know that there are people in the stands who played, big league prices to see a major league game. You don't want to go out and play it like an exhibition game. And if you're a manager, you want to put on as many managerial wins on the board as you possibly can. I can guarantee you both these teams will be playing it to win.
And from certainly a starting pitcher standpoint, whether it be Reynolds or Compton, they're out there to do very well in hopes that next year is a better year for them.
Well, you know, you're right about that. I mean, this isn't the game in which the loser goes home, but it might be the game in which if you really don't pitch very well, you might be going home, and they may be out of the thought process when it comes to, you know, the team next year and where you align. You want to leave the ball club with a very good taste, and I think that's why Greg Reynolds is happy to have this start.
Of course, once September 1st rolls around, both rosters expanded, as they do all over baseball, up to 40. Both these teams using well over 30. But once the postseason begins on Tuesday and that National League wildcard game, the roster must be slimmed back down to 25, and those rosters have to be announced by no later than 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Reynolds walks Pedro Alvarez, who's vying for a National League home run crown. If he can get it, and I would assume that's why he may be playing today. He starts the day tied with Arizona's Paul Goldschmidt with 36 home runs. Two on with two out. Here's John Buck, the former Met turned Pirate, when he came over here in a trade in late August. He's been with this team about a month, and he lines one into center. They're going to wave the runner around third. Tabata, he will score, and the Pirates break through first in the first. RBI for John Buck, who hasn't had a whole lot of playing time with his Pittsburgh team, but overall gives him 62 runs batted in.
Well, when Greg Reynolds gets the ball up and you see where that pitch was level-wise, just right around the belt, that's pretty good hitting. He's not an overpowering pitcher anymore. He relies on sinking the ball. You've got to start it at the knees or just a little bit above the knees in order to get that ball to have some downward movement. Buck was all over it.
And I would imagine from Reynolds' standpoint, he's 28 years old, but here he is, a guy pitching every fifth day all summer. All of a sudden he comes up here, he makes that start against Colorado, and he does very well. Then he goes almost 3 weeks without a start, starts against Houston. Now here he is 11 days later with another start. That's not the routine a starter likes to be in, is it?
No, it's not, but he can't use that as an excuse. He would not use that as an excuse. I mean, that's the same scenario just about every young minor league pitcher runs into. When you're the swing man, that's what they used to call that fifth starter with off days and so on. Sometimes you'd sit for a long period of time, but it doesn't mean, you know, that the expectations of the fans are any less on you than it is on anybody else. They don't understand you have not been in a good, you know, rotation, that you're out of your ordinary routine. Those are the things that really don't matter. I mean, for Greg Reynolds right now, it's putting zeros on the board.
Well, he won a dozen games at Louisville this year. He's won once here, so it's been a nice year for him. 13 wins overall. He works with Garrett Jones, who is one of the players that was supplanted from everyday playing when the Pirates went out and acquired Justin Morneau and Marlon Byrd, who took over in right field, and Morneau took over at first base, and it was Jones who was playing both those positions, who ended up being the odd man out in that group. Jones has done a nice job against the Reds this year. .319 with 3 home runs. Just compare him to the numbers that say Morneau has put up 2 for 15 and Byrd 8 for 17. So Byrd has done very well against Reds pitching. Morneau not so. Jones certainly did while he was playing on an everyday basis. Overall, he has 14 home runs. He's driven in 50. Pirates have taken a 1-0 first inning lead. We should note that going into today, Atlanta lost yesterday. They have 66 losses. The Cardinals, who have won 5 in a row, have 65 losses. So right now, if the Cardinals can win that game today against Chicago at St. Louis, that begins at 2:15, they would end up with the best record in the National League. That's significant for the Reds team, because if the Reds were to win on Tuesday, The winner of that wild card game would then take on St. Louis in the National League Division Series. Ohio is brought to you by the Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling truck in America, 36 straight years. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. Dusty Baker wrapping up his 6th year at the helm of this Cincinnati Reds club, having taken them now to the playoffs in 3 years. Of course, this will be the first time ever for the Reds. They will be the 3rd and 4th teams to play in the wild card game in the National League. Of course, last year was St. Louis and Atlanta. They have both won their divisions this year. This year it's the Reds and the Pirates. Here's Dusty's lineup for this afternoon's wrap-up. Chu, Ludwig, and Votto. Bruce, Frazier, and Cozart. Mesoraco, Izturis, and Reynolds, at least to start. That's what the lineup looks like. As Chris mentioned, it certainly will change throughout the day. Against this right-hander, Brandon Compton.
Brandon Compton, a 24-year-old right-hander. He was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2010 out of Georgia Tech, where he had a pretty good year in his junior year, and that's when they drafted him. This is his first start since July the 20th. He did pitch last Sunday, 3 innings of shutout baseball. That was against the Reds in that 11-3 win that the Reds had. But other than that, he's just very much like Greg Reynolds, just sat around now without a whole lot of pitching going on.
This is a young man at 24 who actually started the year at AA Altoona, then went to Indianapolis and actually made his big league debut because of the injury that A.J. Reynolds suffered, that calf injury. Put A.J. Burnett, pardon me, went on the DL with that calf injury, and Compton was the guy who got to make his big league debut. Chu leads it off here with Ludwig to follow, and then Joey Votto in the bottom of the 1st.
In fact, Compton made his 2nd major league start against the Reds. His debut was against the Dodgers. The 2nd time out on June the 20th was against the Reds. So they've seen him before.
Also saw him a week ago today when he threw 3 shutout innings in relief in that Sunday game, that wrap up. He made the start, as you talked about, and then the relief appearance. Right at the bottom of the zone there for Compton, and a strike. Chu at 286 with 21 homers, 54 runs batted in. Any way you want to slice it, this guy has had a very, very good year as a member of the Cincinnati Reds this year. A lot of talk. He was, in fact, one of the main stories going into spring training. The addition of Chu and the possibility that Aroldis Chapman would once again be a starter. Those are the 2 main storylines going into spring training way back in February. Would Chu be able Or would he not be able to play center field for this Reds team, having played right field for the Indians the years that he was over there? 7 years with the Tribe before coming to the Reds this year in the trade. Really, from almost day one, he has shown that he can handle that big area out in center, whether it be in this ballpark, whether it be in San Diego, San Francisco, wherever the Reds have played. In Pittsburgh, it's a big center field as well. Going back on this ball is Tabata, and he has it for the first out. Pirates defensively line up like this. Brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Tabata, PA, and Snyder. Alvarez, Mercer, Harrison, and Jones on the infield. Compton throws to John Buck, who drove in the run for the Pirates in the first. And there's the Cincinnati native, Harrison. Played at UC. He's been with this Pirates team now for a number of years. Up and down this year between Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. Getting the start today at second base. Giving the day off to Neil Walker, who had a pair of home runs in that 6 home run outburst by the Pirates yesterday in that 8-3 win. Ludwig now batting. Found a new spot in the lineup in this Pirate series, the number 2 hole. .244 with a couple of home runs. He's driven in a dozen. Active since the middle of August, playing in his 38th game. Under contract to the Reds for 1 more year, 2014. And he said as much the other day. He expects to come back 100% next year. Hammers this one to center, but PA will range to his right and get it.
Now there's a good example right there of what happens when you have shoulder surgery in the same year in which you try, or you come back and try to play in the same year in which you've had shoulder surgery. Ryan Ludwig, normally when he hits that ball, I think when he comes back in 2014 and hits that same ball, it's probably off the center field wall. Just doesn't have the bat speed that he had. He's worked very hard to come back. He beat a lot of expectations by coming back and then playing when he did so far this year. In fact, I didn't think anybody thought that he'd already be playing in his 30-plus game.
Votto swings at the first one, hits it hard to left, but handled out there by Jose Tabata, and the Reds go in order in the bottom of the first. Drafting babies up to 3 years old for only $14. Members receive an exclusive Reds cap and bib, plus vouchers for members-only experiences, including on-field pregame parade, mascot, player photo sessions, free Reds tickets, and of course much more. Purchase your membership kit Visit Great American Ballpark, select Kroger locations, or log on to Reds.com/rookies. At Reds Rookies Babies program will be in full bloom come 2014. Reds will open up the final day of March next year, March the 31st. Who will they play? They play those St. Louis Cardinals. And we're talking about just before the end of the top of the first inning that the Cardinals won yesterday and the Braves lost to Philadelphia. So the Cardinals right now own the best record in the National League. And if it stays that way going into Monday, meaning the Cardinals hang on to that spot to close out the regular season today, then the winner of that National League wild card team between these two clubs, the Reds and the Pirates, would take on St. Louis. Now, if they end up tied, the Braves have the tiebreaker 4-3 over St. Louis. So we'll keep an eye on that game, which starts at 2:15 at Busch. And down in Atlanta, 1:35 Turner Field against Philly. Jordy Mercer, people remember him around here from that game a week ago Friday when he made that error on the throw, and it looked like it was going to be the final out of that game over in Pittsburgh a week ago Friday. Ball hit by Frazier.
That really changed the dynamics of the last week of the season. That one little play right there.
Sure did. Serves that ball out into right. Dive by Bruce. He can't get it. Going to go all the way to the wall. Mercer around second. On his way to third. Nick Leva takes a look at it. Says, yeah, come on around. They're going to throw. No, they won't. They will not throw home. And that is an inside the park home run for Jordy Mercer here in the top of the second. Bruce made the dive. Tried to make the catch. Didn't get it. Didn't stop it. Inside the park home run, Jordy Mercer.
How about the swing on this home run right here? A little off the end of the bat, sinking line drive, and Greg Reynolds looks at it thinking, well, there's a leadoff hit. It gets by Jay Bruce, goes all the way to the wall, and the way that ball was hit, it kind of wedges itself right up near the wall. And Mercer, meanwhile, gets waved all the way around. Who would have ever thought when that ball came off the bat it was going to end up being a home run?
First inside the park homer of the year against the Reds. That's followed with a solid single in the center by Josh Harrison. So the Pirates already have 4 hits against the 28-year-old right-hander.
Well, they brought their hitting shoes to Cincinnati this weekend. There's no doubt about that. The regulars that have played the first 2 games on Friday and Saturday hit lots of hits, including a ton of home runs yesterday, and the hit parade keeps on coming here with their extra guys, or as we like to call sometimes, the bomb squatters.
Here's the pitcher, Brandon Compton. Frazier coming way in as he always does.
Compton, like a lot of pitchers now when they're asked to bunt, he moves way up into the very front of the batter's box. It just gives you a lot more room of fair territory to use.
Vada will make this play, and as Torres takes the throw, and that is out number 1. Just a reminder, coming up later in the broadcast, our Miller Time moment of the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. First major league sacrifice by Compton, moves Harrison into scoring position, and now Reynolds will face Felix P.A. Called out on strikes to start this game. P.A., the native of the Dominican, has seen big league time with the Cubs, with the Baltimore Orioles, and now this year with the Pirates. In fact, he broke in with the Cubs back in 2007. They had signed him as a free agent. This year, PA at AAA hit .251 with 8 homers and 40 runs batted in.
For so many years, we heard about Felix PA being the next big thing in Chicago. I mean, he has all the tools, throws, hits for power, can run, do all the things that scouts love. And he's one of those guys, and if you had a dime for every one of them, you could be retired, who never have lived up to the athletic ability and the billing that he got as a young man. Now trying to stay in the major leagues.
All fouled away. Bat goes pinwheeling over the Reds dugout and into the seats down there. Everybody appears to be all right behind the Reds dugout. And that
he needs to put a little more of that Manny Mota stick him on that bat. That's what he's doing right now.
We used to see a lot of that from Juan Francisco. He used to be a big bat tosser.
You know, sometimes the hitting coaches will use the verbiage, throw the bat head. Some guys take it just slightly too literally.
Like Mr. PA. I'll tell you what, though, that fellow in the second row there behind the Reds dugout, he's going to go home with a nice souvenir today. Glove. He brought his glove to the game, and now he'll take a bat home with him as well. That playoff hat he had on, I think, was from last year. Popped up. Playable. Reynolds got off the mound in a hurry, and the Reds pitcher makes the catch of that ball. 2 out.
Yeah, that's about the only time a pitcher is permitted to catch a pop-up. Have you ever noticed that? Unless the ball is just hit very low and nobody else can get to it, the pitcher is usually called off. And Reynolds is the only guy who's going to be able to get to that ball, so he proves for the pitchers union that pitchers can actually catch pop-ups.
Someone sent him a congratulatory note on that afterwards, just to make
already
it feel
in the mail
via electronics. Here's Tabata with a runner at second and 2 out. First pitch swinging in the air to right center, and Chu is there to make the catch. Tabata gone, and the inning is over. Pirates add a run on an inside the park homer by Jordy Mercer. This is back on Monday, April the 8th. home opener for the Cardinals at Busch Stadium. Game tied 4-4 in the 9th inning. The Reds scored 9 times in that inning to spoil that Cardinal opener. Big highlights: a Phillips RBI double, Frazier's RBI walk with the bases loaded, Hanahan an RBI infield hit, Chu base clearing double, scoring 3. Votto with an RBI single, scoring 2. All told in that inning, 15 batters, 6 hits, 9 runs. That's the most runs scored in an inning this year. That's our flashback number 5 of the highlights of the 2013 regular season. Bruce leads it off here in the bottom of the 2nd. Bruce, then Frazier, then Cozart. Only highlight, speaking of highlights, of yesterday's game for the Reds offensively was his double with the bases loaded in the 3rd inning that scored a couple. Gave the Reds a 3-2 lead at the time. It was short-lived as Alvarez hit a home run in the 4th inning to tie it. And from that moment on, really, it was all Pittsburgh. Jay with 30 homers, 109 RBIs. The RBI total, of course, is a career high for Jay. He'd come close but never hit the 100 mark before. He did it down in Houston when he hit the grand slam. But he is going to come up short this year in terms of increasing his home run total, which he has done every year since 2008. Last year 34. Comes into today with 30, but he still has 3 straight years of 30 or more. He's 2nd in the league in extra base hits with 74, 1 behind Paul Goldschmidt. A chance to finish 3rd in the league in doubles. He has 43. That is a personal best for him. So overall, it's been a pretty good year for Jay Bruce. Talking about his home run totals, here's his RBI totals by year since he came to the big leagues as a 21-year-old back in 2008. It has increased every year.
Well, he's had more opportunities, I think, this year, but he's also delivered on those opportunities. You know, for Jay Bruce, he's always been a guy that has been very hot and very cold. Sometimes when he's so hot, he carries the ball club for a week or 2. And then when he's cold, you're wondering if he's ever going to get another hit again. And I think that his main goal this year, and if you ask him and look back on those interviews that we did with him back in Goodyear, Arizona, he'd say, I just want to, you know, make those slumps a little bit shorter. You're going to go through them no matter what as a ball player. You're not always going to stay hot. You can't be consistent and get a hit every day or every other day. When you're seeing the ball big, you wish you could bottle it and figure out how to teach all your teammates to do the same thing. But I think that he's come a long way in limiting those long slumps that he's been in the past. And I think that comes with maturity, playing. Guy comes to play every day, I can tell you that.
He reaches here and misses, striking out as the first out in the bottom of the 2nd. Reds fans, if a Reds home run hits this Toyota sign during this afternoon's game, Jack Baker from North Bend, Ohio, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark, as it has been all year. We thank all of you who have registered for a chance to win via your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers throughout this 2013 season. Talking about Jay Bruce, certainly one of the things we've seen him do better this year than he's ever done in the past is hit the ball the other way. He's almost always exclusively a pull hitter, but this year center and left center more than ever before. That's paid dividends for him. He'll end up with his 2nd best batting average in the big leagues. He had 281 in 2010. 262 going into today will be his 2nd best in his career. Compton takes care of Frazier quickly. 3 pitches. the batter will be Cozart. Compton is one of 12 starting pitchers that the Pirates have used this year. He'll induce a ground ball here to Alvarez, and for the second consecutive inning, the Reds go in order. Through 2, Pirates on top 2-0. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Road to the wild card winners. This is only the second year. I remember last year both road teams came out with a win. The Cardinals down in Atlanta. Baltimore won against the Texas Rangers. Baltimore ultimately lost in the ALDS to the Yankees, but the Cardinals, they went on to defeat the Atlanta. They won the wild card game, then lost to the Giants in the NLCS after winning a division series. So the wild card team from the National League last year went pretty far. We'll see how it goes this year. Third inning now. Here's Travis Snyder. Snyder, then Pedro Alvarez, then John Buck against the offerings of Greg Reynolds, his 28-year-old out of the San Francisco area, Pacifica, California, and Stanford, former #1 pick by the Rockies. Remember, he was so nervous pitching out in San Francisco that first start as a Red in his hometown area. After a little bit of a shaky start, he did okay in that game. Came back and made 2 very good starts, one against Milwaukee, one against Colorado. Gets his 5th start here today. One out on the pop-up. Reminder, catch all the action of the 2013 Major League postseason. You can do that on Fox, TBS, and the MLB Network starting October the 1st. Alvarez walked his first time. only drama left in the National League playoff picture is to who will be the #1 seed. We talked about that, either the Cardinals or the Braves. In the American League, it's yet to be decided as to who the wild card teams are going to be. Boston will have the #1 seed with 64 losses. Oakland will have the 2 seed, Detroit the 3. But then who will be that wild card team? It's up in the air really between Cleveland, Tampa Bay, and Texas, and it could very well come down to a 3-team tie and a 2-tiered playoff just to find out who the wild card team is.
The Indians are playing the game tonight, so they'll know what has happened by the time they take the field tonight. And they're playing in Minnesota. And they've had, I'll tell you what, the Indians are playing about as well as anybody in baseball. They've won 9 games in a row. Texas has won 6 in a row, so they're playing very well. Can't let him get out of town without drilling him one more time, right?
That's exactly what happens there. Alvarez hit by a pitch.
These are 2 teams that get hit a lot, and not only by each other, but by other teams as well. The Pirates and the Reds are among the most hit batters in baseball when you take number of hit batters per plate appearance. And there are also pitching staffs that pitch inside and hit a lot of batters as also. So I'm not saying that that was intentional by any means. But you just got to get it in there on Alvarez, because if you don't, he hits it a long way.
But Dusty Baker made the comment after the game, I think it was on Friday night, that Clint Hurdle makes the statement that they hit players because they pitch inside. They don't mean to do it on purpose. It just happens that way. They pitch inside. And yet Dusty said Clint gets very, very upset when Pirates players are hit, claiming that he doesn't believe the other teams are simply pitching inside. Dusty said you can't have it both ways.
Well, Dusty's got a point there. I mean, you know, the other teams are allowed to pitch inside as well. To lead the league in hit by pitch, Pirates are right there in the top 4 in history.
Both having their batters
together.
Yeah,
their batters and pitchers together.
And you talked about the Reds Pirates having hit each other a lot. Pirates Cardinals have hit each other a lot this year too. That's right up there along with the Yankees and the Red Sox.
So there's a lot of in the division pitching inside.
Well, it sounds like, doesn't it? Yeah. Ozark tried to get it on the short hop, and it gets by him. Had he picked that ball, it would have been a possible double play. But it scoots under his glove and on into center. Buck has himself a base hit.
That's kind of a weird play right there. It looked like at first that maybe Kozar had a chance to get on a fly if he charges it, but then he decides to go back and pick it. I don't know whether the ball was knuckling or what. It just took kind of a funny hop and just a goofy looking play right from the get-go.
So after the pop-up starts the inning, now they're going to call that an error on Kozar. So the pop-up started the inning, then the hit batsman, now the E6. The batter is Garrett Jones, who struck out his first time. Double play ball. It's Torres, Kozar, Votto. Inning ends well. 4-6-3 double play puts an end to the Pirate third. that are retiring at the end of this 2013 season. Todd Helton, of course, the longtime Colorado Rocky, 17 years out there. Mr. Offense with their offensive records. Mariano Rivera, who was taken out of the game the other day by the man to his left on the screen, or right as we look at it, I guess, Andy Pettitte and Derek Jeter. 652 career saves, the all-time leader in that department. And then what about Andy Pettitte last night, Chris? What a job he did.
Well, he throws a complete game win last night, and what a class act for all of those players right there. Baseball will miss them. They've been, you know, the best at their trade, or among the best at their trade, really ever since they first stepped on a baseball field.
Yankees win that game last night 2-1, and Pettitte evens his mark at 11-11, and as the graphic stated, never a losing season in 18 years. That's our IGS Bringing the Energy feature here on this Sunday afternoon. As Arauco leads it off here in the third against Brandon Compton. Started to say before that inning ended that the Pirates have used 12 starters this year. Burnett is a free agent. Locke should be back. Liriano, I believe they have an option on him. Morton, Garrett Cole, who was scheduled to pitch today and then scratched. They have some spots that this guy could potentially fill next year, don't they?
You're right. I'm wondering what they'll do with A.J. Burnett. He's been such an important part of the piece of the puzzle for them from the starting rotation standpoint. Of course, winning goes a long way to try and get a guy back. But he's been somewhat of a mercenary, I think, overall for Burnett. They say that despite some of the reputation you hear about Burnett over the years, he had a problem in Miami, a problem with Jack McKeon down there, was asked to leave the team actually before the season was over several years ago. They say in Pittsburgh he has been nothing but a model citizen, really helping out the young pitchers. And there he is probably talking pitching to some young guys right next to him now.
If I'm not mistaken, Jeff Locke to his right there, who Clint Hurdle had said will not start another game in 2013. But Burnett really and Wandy Rodriguez were the two veterans that they have brought in. Unfortunately for Wandy, it's not been a good year due to injury. There's your first Reds base runner, a base hit by Cesar Izturis, playing second base and batting eighth today.
Now, the Reds are wasting no time. Neither of the Pirates is swinging the bats, and Izturis just goes up there and slices it right by the third baseman Alvarez. Looks like he surprised Pedro with that ball coming down there so quickly.
Izturis came in, ran at first base yesterday in that game when Brandon Phillips got the base hit in the fifth inning after fouling that ball off his left shin. Paul Lassard, the trainer, had come out. Dusty Baker had come out. Dusty suggested maybe he should leave, and Brandon said, no, I think I can continue. But he said after the game, I was thinking in my head, I think I may have broken my left leg. But he got the base hit. Really had a tough time running to first, and that's when Dusty sent Izturis out to run for Phillips.
Unfortunately, X-rays negative. Phillips will be fine for Tuesday.
Game on Tuesday slated to begin at 8:07. You will be involved in coverage of that game right here in Fox, Ohio, correct?
Well, we'll have a post-game show right from the ballpark at PNC Park right after the ball game, so you can switch right from TBS to Fox Sports Ohio immediately upon seeing that last out, and we will give you all the coverage and hopefully all the good news. We'll have interviews, of course, go to Dusty Baker, get the first words from him and the players important in that ball game, and I'm looking forward to it. One more trip to Pittsburgh.
That'll be you and Jim Day, right?
It will be indeed.
Jeff Pecora will be in the locker room. Yeah, that's a double tap off the bat of Reynolds and called out at the plate by Mike Winters, the crew chief. You can get a look at that. That ball hit the bat twice of Reynolds.
Well, it hit the plate. It goes off the bat, it hits the plate, and then comes back and hits the bat again. That means you batted or didn't hit the plate. It just hit in fair territory. But if you do that, if you hit or touch a batted fair ball, you are out. And that's the case for Greg Reynolds.
So the runner goes back to first, and if you're scoring along, like I like to do when I'm not here, 2 unassisted on the putout.
Yeah, I think what usually happens, and what we should really check probably with Ron Roth on this, but say, for instance, a runner was to be hit by a ground ball running from first to second. I think you give the putout to the closest fielder to him.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken. So the closest fielder here would be the catcher.
So 2 bats for the second time with a runner aboard and 2 men out. They called that now as we look. Well, let's see. Yeah, they call that a strikeout according to the official scoring of that. Yeah. Joe Luckup off to our left here on the computer said that has been ruled by MLB BAM, the official statistician, as a strikeout. In that case, that would be the 3rd strikeout of the game for Compton. We'll check to be sure.
Well, you know, we did a whole lot of rules this year. We did a month worth of rules on our CBTS and Cincinnati Bell Tech Talk, but we did not cover the scoring rules, which is a whole different book. Maybe I'll have to find someone who could do that. We'll do some of that next year. You might be involved in that.
I got to tell you, the rules Tech Talk are some of my favorites.
We thank Cincinnati Bell and Cincinnati Bell Technology Solutions for Business and being big supporters of that Tech Talk. We've done those year after year after year. We have about 600 of them, I think, in the bank, and a lot of them are on FoxSportsOhio.com.
Are they? Okay. And Ted Barrett is the umpire that you worked with on those. Harrison to his left will field this ball and throw out Chu, and the Reds finished in the bottom of the 3rd. So 3 complete, 2-0 Pittsburgh.
And hopefully this works out fine. We win Tuesday. Latos comes back and be ready Thursday. If not, we'll go a different direction.
Dusty Baker talking about the decision to start Johnny Cueto on Tuesday in the National League wild card game over in Pittsburgh. Of course, he was slated to go today, and then Latos was going to go on Tuesday, but it was announced yesterday that Latos had soreness in his arm, and Dusty elaborated a little bit more on that in his talk with the media today, saying that like most pitchers have, he said they've got some degree of a floating bone chip in the elbow, and sometimes it gives Latos a sore elbow. That may be what he was going through now, and so it's going to be Cueto gets the start on Tuesday against Francisco Liriano. Of course, when you talk about Johnny Cueto and the Pittsburgh Pirates, he has been incredible against them to the tune of 13-4 with a 2.37 lifetime against Pittsburgh. Reynolds back to work. Jordy Mercer leads it off. Billy Hamilton has taken over for the Reds in center field for Chu, who goes 0 for 3. Imagine we'll see this now throughout the course of the afternoon. Reds players taken out, regular everyday players.
Yeah, that's kind of a worrisome comment, or at least a worrisome turn of events for the Reds. If indeed Matt Latos has bone chips that are bothering him right now, how are they going to cure themselves between now and Thursday?
Either outfielder cut that ball off. It's going to be at least a double, and now Cozart has trouble getting the ball out of his glove, or they may have had a chance to get Mercer at third base. So here's Jordy Mercer with an inside the park homer and a triple in this game.
Well, it's the second time and against the same batter that Cozart had a chance to throw the runner out and couldn't get the ball gripped right. He did the same thing on the inside the park home run. The ball goes in the seam there, right center field. Hamilton shows off a pretty good arm right there, but he misses the first cutoff man. Backup guys there. The double pump by Cozart, and fortunately Reynolds is in the right place at the right time, backing up, or else the Pirates would have another run.
Chris, let's go back to what you were talking about, though, a little, and it is, you're right, a little bit worrisome, a little bit troublesome that this is going on with Latos.
Well, I haven't seen any signs of it anyway with his performances. He's thrown really well his last few times out, and you know, it is true that pitchers have bone chips. I mean, everybody has calcium deposits on their elbow. If you pitch for a long period of time, that's one of the things that happens to you, and occasionally one of those will get loose and become bothersome and irritated. But if he has one, at some point you got to figure that the Reds are going to surgically take care of that, or you wonder how, without any kind of surgery manipulation, it's going to get better between now and when they may need him in the playoffs. So let's hope that it's a temporary thing, that he'll miraculously recover. When the Reds win on Tuesday, he'll be able to make his next start.
Harrison gets the base hit into center, and the Pirates now extend their lead to 3-0. Well, the Cincinnati native 2 for 2 with an RBI in this regular season finale. So just some closing thoughts then on that Matt Latos situation. In the last week to 10 days, then we have found out that earlier this year he was pitching with an abdominal strain that we were unaware of, and now with apparently some elbow issues.
Well, not uncommon at all for teams to keep those things secret, because you don't want the other team to know that you got a guy hurting one way or another. Oftentimes we may hear of somebody who's unavailable for a particular day, and the club will say, hey, we don't want that out there. It's not unusual for this to happen, that you kind of sit on information. You just hope the guy's going to be healthy enough to pitch the way he has, because he has been very good the last few times out when the Reds have needed him.
Compton showed bunt there, pulled back. He laid down a sacrifice bunt his first time. Pirates have scored single runs in the first, second, fourth, leading this game 3-0. First series that these two teams met in this year was over in Pittsburgh in the middle of April, and the Pirates swept that. They're trying to do the same in this last series between these two clubs. Dusty Baker, one of the biggest decisions that he and his baseball people will have to make between now and 10 a.m. Tuesday is what will be the makeup of the 25-man playoff roster. And keep in mind, it can change after each round of which the wild card game is considered a round.
So with that in mind, you figure that Matt Latos will not be on the roster for Tuesday's game, but if he can pitch on Thursday, if the Reds win, I'm assuming the Reds win here, then he'll be back on the roster and somebody else will be left off. At that point, that's when you really have to start thinking about what your matchup is. You'll know who you're going to play, how many extra players you'll take versus extra pitchers you'll take for the series. That's when it becomes interesting. For one game, you can pretty much arrange your roster and load it up with everyday players so you have extra help off the bench. You know, you never want to run out of pitching, so you're going to have enough pitchers, but unlikely you're going to carry 12 pitchers for a one-game play-in game.
I think I read last year where Atlanta and St. Louis carried 2 extra starters as opposed to the other 4 that normally are on their roster, and the rest was, like you said, relief pitchers, everyday players, just in case. And again, that has to come out no later than 10 a.m. on Tuesday, prior to the game Tuesday night over in Pittsburgh.
And of course, the teams that have a disabled player or 2 on it have the ability to manipulate the roster a little bit more than those teams with no DL players. For instance, Nick Massett is a DL player that Billy Hamilton, for instance, who was brought up after September 1st and would normally not be eligible for the playoff roster, can be used in place of a guy who's been on the DL. And that's the way that kind of works, and every team is able to do the same thing.
With the other part of that being he'd have to have been in the organization all year, which Billy has.
Yes.
But Compton is really making Reynolds work here. 9 pitches so far.
That interesting play right there, because it was looked like double batted at the plate. We got the ruling wrong, by the way. It was not a fair ball. He didn't run into it. That only happens in the field when a runner is hit by a batted ball. If that ball was ruled a foul ball, and of course with 2 strikes on you when you tried to bunt, so it goes down as a strikeout. And we're waiting for Ron Roth and his crew to come up with the rule number in the rule book, so we can reference that for you. When we do, we'll pass it along.
That was in the Reynolds at bat.
Josh was leaning.
You sure was, and that was very close over there. Laz Diaz with his eyes right on that, the umpire. Finally bunting with 2 strikes, and Compton will get his second sacrifice of this game. Let's go now to Los Angeles for a Fox Sports 1 game break. All right, thanks for that American League wild card update. Those are 3 big games that we'll keep an eye on. And as we said earlier, could very well be a 3-way tie, forcing 2 days worth of playoffs just to decide who the wild card team is going to be. Cleveland wins. They know they are one of them. In fact, they know already that they are one of them. Tampa Bay and Texas trying to get in there as well. Texas plays at 3:05 at home against the Angels. The Tampa game with a big lead for the Rays early at Toronto. That'll really put the pressure on the Texas Rangers. Tampa wins. Texas loses. Cleveland wins, and it'll be Tampa and Cleveland. Either way, it looks like the partners at Goodyear, Arizona's spring training complex, both be in the wild card playoffs this year. Reds with 90 wins. Cleveland going into today with 91. They really, as you said earlier, they have surged like crazy, having won 9 in a row. Could very well end up with more wins than the Reds this year. Strike 3 call. PA has had 3 at-bats in this game, none of which have been impressive.
He likes the ball out over the plate. See him jump away from those pitches inside. That's where Reynolds has got him. And he, like a lot of the right-handers in this Reds pitching staff, has a little comeback two-seam fastball that can be very effective on the first base side of home plate.
That's the pitch that we saw so effectively used by Sam LeCure. They all kind of picked up on that from him.
Well, I think it's been around for a while, but Sam has shown that you can throw that effectively and not have to be a 95-mile-an-hour burner to get inside to a lefty. I think Greg Maddux is the first guy that I remember has used it so often and actually had a name for it. It was called the front door fastball. You throw it essentially at the belt buckle of a left-handed hitter and have that ball come back, but your direction as a pitcher has to be so good. You can't throw across your body. You can't carry the ball. You have to stay behind the ball, pronate, which is turn the ball over a little bit earlier, and you'll get a nice inside run. You know, scouts will talk about glove side and arm side, and easily put, it's when a pitcher stands on the pitching rubber with his arms at his side looking in. If he's a left-handed, or if he's a right-handed pitcher like Reynolds is, the glove side is first base, the arm side is third base. It's easy to get arm side run. It's a lot harder to get glove side run on a baseball. That's where your delivery has to be very good mechanically to get that done.
Top of the batting here with a runner in scoring position, 2 out. Pirates up 3-0 here in the 4th. Josh Harrison leading away out at second.
Ouch.
Jammed him there. Cozart will cut it off. Has to hurry. Not in time. Tabata legs it out for an infield single, despite the effort from Cozart.
Boy, I'll tell you what. Greg Reynolds has had a heck of a hard time getting any kind of good luck this afternoon. I mean, he just simply saws off Jose Tabata right in on the hands right here. If it doesn't break his bat, it comes very close to doing that. And a little weak ground ball goes for a base hit. He had an opposite field ball hit off the end of the bat, go for an inside the park home run.
I don't know if we can see that again, but there was a little bit of a double tap right there on that bat from Tabata. Hit down near his hands and then hit down near the barrel. Here's another look at that double tap. It rolled right on down the bat, didn't it?
We never used to be able to give you that look before our slow-mo. What provides really great look.
Hey, did you ever talk to anybody, by the way, about the hand guard with the length on that?
The question is not whether I've talked to anybody, but anybody in the Reds dugout like Dusty Baker or Chris Spire or maybe somebody in the front office. Have they talked to anybody about that? That may be interesting. Come Tuesday night if Starling Marte gets on base and he whips out that little device he puts on his hand.
Ludwig will handle this fly ball by Travis Snyder, and so the Pirates settle for 1. But as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning, it's Pittsburgh up by 3. September the 18th at Houston. Billy Hamilton making his first big league start. And what a big day it was. He went 3 for 4, scored a couple of runs, and stole 4 bases. One in the 4th, another one in the 6th. He stole a base in the 9th, stole another base in the 13th inning, becoming the first player in baseball's modern history to steal 4 bases in his first career start. Look back. Flashback of the 2013 season, Billy Hamilton. I have a feeling we'll be saying that name a lot next year. All right, now on FoxSportsOhio.com, what can the Reds do to fix their recent offensive struggles? Read what Hal McCoy thinks about Johnny Cueto starting Tuesday's wild card game in Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, Braxton Miller ended any QB controversy with last night's win over Wisconsin for the Ohio State Buckeyes. FoxSportsOhio.com has complete coverage from all of today's action involving Ohio sports. So here it is, Ludwig. Start the home 4th inning. Reds without a run yet, and just the benefit of 1 hit, that by Turris in the 3rd. Hit it hard, but out into center. Dusty made the comment before Friday's game that Ludwig was his man in the 2 spot now for the remainder of this 2013 season. And indeed, he was there yesterday. He's there today, and we assume certainly that he'll be there on Tuesday over at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. It appears that a very light rain has started to fall here at Great American Ballpark.
Yeah, they thought it would be about a 50-50 chance of getting some showers this afternoon. Not very heavy. A lot of people, even if they did not bring ponchos or umbrellas, are going to sit through it. Hopefully will not last long.
Well, if it stays coming down like it is, it would be a rain that would not interrupt play of this game.
That number 2 hole this year, other than the time when Brandon Phillips occupied that spot, has been kind of a black hole for the Reds. Last year it was a leadoff spot where they couldn't get really anybody on base. This year that has not been a problem, obviously, with Chu getting on base so many times, second in the National League behind Votto. You have Votto getting on base an awful lot in the number 3 spot, but the number 2 spot is a spot that Dusty Baker's really fiddled with.
Hit hard again by Ludwig, but tracked down and right by Travis Snyder. And there's 2 line drives he's hit today, all for naught for Ryan Ludwig. Of course, Kozar was in that spot some this year for the Reds. Phillips was there a little bit here late in the season. Reds fans had never seen Ludwig occupy the 2 hole before, but prior to Friday, he actually had done that for half a season, almost 88 games with the Cardinals back in his days with St. Louis.
You know, we showed you a graphic in the open about Joey Votto and some of the tremendous offensive exploits that he has had this year. But a lot of people in Reds country have not really appreciated the year he's had because it's a different type of a year for a number 3 hitter. Ouch, that ball is scalded. He's hit it hard at least twice. Well, yeah, both times he's hit it very hard.
Yeah, he and Ludwig now have 4 line drive outs. That came against the shift there against Votto. You were talking.
But I've never really seen a player be scrutinized as much as Joey Votto, a player that is having a record-breaking year, the way that Votto is this year, be scrutinized as much as he has been scrutinized. You know, why aren't you driving in more runs? Why aren't you hitting more home runs? He surpassed a record put up there by Pete Rose in Pete Rose's best year as far as the number of times he's gotten on base. He's had a Reds record for the most number of walks given to a hitter in a year. And yet there are people saying he hasn't had a good year. And unfortunately, Joey Votto's not buying into that talk, that he's trying to be productive and efficient, which is a combination of something in baseball that is very difficult to do. And I think what we've seen now is what Joey Votto is as a ball player. He's evolving into this type of a player. And hopefully people will get it, realize that you got to have runners on base in order to score runs.
His on-base percentage in his MVP year was .424. This year, you see it at the bottom of there, .436. So it's better this year.
And this is the oldest franchise in baseball history, and he's got the third highest in history. You know, sometimes when you have a team and you set the mark of expectations so high, and they have a pretty good year but not a great year. You look up now, the Cardinals have won 96 games. They're going to win the division, and you're in the playoffs, but you seem to have maybe underachieved a little bit. Then it's normal to go out and put the blame on your best player. You put the blame on your best player, and of course you also do the same thing to the manager. This team is heading for the playoffs, folks. Jay Bruce gets a nice round of applause, a cameo exit for him.
Heisey will pinch run and then take over in the outfield. A nice story in the Cincinnati Enquirer today regarding the exact same thing that you're talking about with regard to Joey Votto, and he is, and I'm paraphrasing, he said basically that people are comparing the old Joey Votto to how he is playing the game now, and he doesn't think it's overly fair. On the other hand, he said, hey, I want to drive in more runs too. I'd like to have more RBIs. But he feels like this is, as you were saying, the best way for him to go about being successful for this Cincinnati Reds team.
Well, if you have two players who are top of the National League in getting on base, and they're both near the top of your lineup, the easiest way to fix that problem of not scoring runs is find a slugger or two to bat fourth and fifth to clean up the bases.
And ideally this year, Ludwig was one of those guys that they were counting on. Unfortunately, he went out due to the injury.
Exactly.
Derek Robinson and Xavier Paul, try as they might, could not become those kind of RBI guys that Ludwig is, and hopefully will be again next year. And maybe in the future this year. You never know. While Friday was a downer, certainly yesterday was a downer, and in terms of a win or loss, today may be a downer. But there was talk on Friday about, hey, wouldn't it be funny that you could lose all three of these games, yet win on Tuesday, and there'll be smiles all around. Frazier flies out. Bottom of the fourth comes to an end. PNC Bank, baseball's premier fan fest, will take place on Friday, December the 6th, and Saturday, December the 7th, as always at the Duke Energy Convention Center in downtown Cincinnati. Proceeds benefit the Reds Community Fund. And of course, if you'd like more information and updates, you can visit reds.com/RedsFest. Again, those dates: Friday, December 6th Saturday, December the 7th, Reds Fest. Take a look now at our AT&T trivia question of this game. How many postseason games have the Reds won against the Pirates? How many postseason games have the Reds won against the Pirates? And of course, they have another one coming up on Tuesday.
So remember now that the Reds have played the Pirates 5 times in the playoffs. In 70, 72, 75, 1979, and 1990. So you can go from there. There's your hint.
Thank you for that. Changes for the Reds, meanwhile, defensively, as Alvarez leads things off. Votto getting a nice hand as he leaves the game. Neftali Soto taking over at first for the Reds All-Star. Jack Hanahan, meanwhile, has gone in to play third base in place of Todd Frazier. Soto is now at first, took over for Votto. Well, 3 of the starters have left the game. There's Jack. Alvarez finds himself in the hole, 2 strikes. Heise, who pinch ran for Bruce, stays in, is playing right field. See, Arizona plays at 4:10 at home against Washington, and I bring that up because of the man at the plate, Pedro Alvarez. He and Paul Goldschmidt tied for the National League lead in the home run race, each with 36. They'll check. No. And a 1-2 count. Last Pirate to lead the National League in home runs. You have to go a long way back. 1973, when Willie Stargell led the NL with 44 that year.
Well, he's the only starter in the Pirates lineup, and that's obviously the reason why. Managers are very sensitive, obviously, to individual accomplishments. And that's a big one right here if you can lead the league in home runs.
Second year in a row that Alvarez has hit 30 or more. He had exactly 30 a year ago. He's put up 15 more RBIs this year than he did last year. He gets this one in the air, but on the infield. Cozart, Hanahan tracking. Cozart calls, and Cozart has it for out number 1. Well, tomorrow, don't miss an all-new episode of Mission October, as they go behind the scenes of this game and this series to give you an inside look as a preview of the NL wildcard game. That's Mission October, Reds October, tomorrow 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1. 1 out for John Buck.
Pirates are hacking it there like they come to the play with a 2-1 count, or maybe even a 1-2 count.
There's softball leagues that start that way, aren't there?
There are.
Swing and a miss, and Buck on 3 is down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Greg Reynolds. Let's go to LA again for another Fox Sports 1 game break. All right, thanks for that update. Now, as we mentioned, as they showed you there, Cleveland with the early lead in that game at Minnesota, trying to wrap up the regular season with 10 straight wins. Anybody going to get this ball? Kozar does a nice job to get out and get it. And the inning comes to an end here in the 5th. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by Toyota. See your Toyota dealer or visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by the JTM Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. How about flashback number 3? We'll go to Atlanta. This was a 5-4 Reds win. They trailed 3-2 entering the bottom of the 9th inning against the Braves. Craig Kimbrell came to the mound. Devin Mesoraco, a pinch hit home run to tie it. Shin-Soo Choo with the game winner. One of only 3 times all year the Reds won when trailing entering the 9th inning. A couple of big home runs. Both against Craig Kimbrell. Pinch hit shot by that man, Mesoraco, to tie it. And then Choo, who has already left the game, won it. Big moment. I said in Atlanta, that was here.
That had to be one of the more improbable victories that I maybe have ever seen with a Reds team or non-Reds team. I mean, to be able to come back against a guy like Kimbrell, one of the premier closers in the game. I mean, there were people in the parking lot who left and thought, well, there's no way the Reds are coming back. We're going to go ahead and get a head start on the crowd out of here. They hear the cheering. They see the fireworks go off. Then they see more fireworks go off.
What the heck is going on?
Man, that was a great night.
Yeah, I'd put that one right up there with the game last Friday in Pittsburgh. And the Reds came back and won that one in 10. Those two certainly were ones that you didn't think were going to happen and did happen. Kozar shoots it the other way, and it gets by the outfielder in right, Snyder. That's going to give Kozar a chance to glide into second, and he is in there with a double. Only the second Reds hit.
A memo to pitchers in this game: do not allow the hitter to hit the ball into the outfield today. It seems to be getting right by outfielders. Zach Kozar gets his, 30th double of the year? And he will come off the field and get a round of applause from the fans that are here. Most of them now moved up underneath the awning so that they can stay out of the rain. But good season and a really good second half for Kozar.
Yeah, it makes him back-to-back years of 30 or more doubles. He had 33 a year ago, 30 now this year. He surpassed his hit total from last year, surpassed his run total, almost doubled his RBI total, and increased his batting average by almost 10 points. So here's a very nice offensive season, particularly in the second half for Cozart. Henry Rodriguez is running for him now out at second as Mesoraco on the first pitch grounds out Mercer to Jones and a 6-3 put out. Rain continuing to come down here at the ballpark. Get through this half inning and this will be an official game. A little bit harder now in terms of rain than it was earlier, as is Turris bats. To the right of Alvarez. 2 out.
He got it by him the first time, but Alvarez was ready in that at bat.
Yeah, the Columbus Crew, they are in the race for the playoffs in the MLS and need a win to stay in the postseason picture. Dwight Burgess, Chris Dorn are on the call when the Crew takes on Dallas. That's tonight at 8:30 right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Columbus Crew Soccer. Now Hannigan will bat for Greg Reynolds. So Reynolds will go 5, allow 3 runs, 7 hits with a walk and 3 strikeouts. As of this moment, he could still be the winning pitcher. He can also be the loser. Billy Hamilton is in the on deck circle. He took over for Chu. Curtis Parch will take over for the Reds on the mound. Been a long time since we've seen him pitch in a game. Hannigan at 199 on the year, so he'd love to get a hit here to bump that thing to 200. Couple of homers, driven in 21. Been an injury-plagued year for this 33-year-old catcher.
Yeah, no major injuries really, but the kind of injuries, of course, kept him on the disabled list a little bit, and then also would nag at you. It seems like every time he exposed his hand to a foul ball, the ball would find his hand. In fact, I think he got one yesterday on his glove hand, the back of his left hand.
Well, he missed time with an oblique injury this year. He had the wrist issue.
The wrist issue, I think, is the one I'm talking about, where he actually got hit on a hit and run where the ball came off the bat and it hit him right above the glove line in the wrist back of the hand area.
That was against St. Louis, as I recall.
He said he couldn't even make a fist for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of disabled his fingers and everything.
Remember, there was that trip right near the All-Star break where he was hurt, Mesoraco was hurt. They weren't sure who was going to catch. In the air and into shallow center. And PA calls off Harrison to make the catch. So the Reds waste the leadoff double by Cozart. We are through 5 on this final Sunday of the regular season.
como tiene que hacer y ya.
Well, like you say, yes, it's a really meaningful game for me, and it is the most important game of the season. And all I have to do is just keep doing my job. Baseball is still the same, and I hope to do what I have to do and make my job the way it has to be done.
Well, gentlemen, as you heard, that was Johnny Cueto before the game today saying that he is absolutely thrilled to be taking the mound Tuesday night in Pittsburgh. And, Jim, as you alluded to earlier, he's had great success against the Pirates. But one thing he also wanted to note after we were done with the interview, he said, hey, can I say one more thing to all the people out there? And we said, sure, Johnny, what's up? And he said, I would like to say to all the people in the Dominican how excited he is to be going out there against Francisco Liriano, 2 Dominican pitchers in the most important game of the year. And he said for all the kids in the Dominican, this is proof that if you work hard, you can make it in Major League Baseball. And he says it's going to be a great day for the Dominican. Everyone there will be watching the game and rooting on their favorite pitcher. Gentlemen?
All right, thank you, Pick. That's good stuff down there with Johnny Cueto. You could just tell when he took the mound against the Houston Astros down in Houston on the 16th how excited he was to be back on the hill, couldn't you?
Well, it took a couple of times out there, and simulated games are fine, and bullpen sessions are fine. Here's the matchup coming up, and Liriano, as you can tell, boy, he has been lights out at home, but Johnny Cueto, career-wise against the Pirates, has been pretty much lights out himself in Pittsburgh. So, I mean, it's a great matchup, but I think you need to pitch a couple games like he did.
Arch took that ball right off the foot, but will make the play.
And that start against the Astros, a lot of people say, well, the Astros, you know, they're not beating anybody now. In fact, right now, as we speak, they're on a bit of a 14-game losing streak. But then he pitched a good game against the New York Mets. Offensively challenged, yes, but still he proved that he's healthy. And when Johnny Cueto is Johnny Cueto and healthy, he can beat anybody. And I think that's why you're going to see him out there on Tuesday.
Well, both times he's made appearances against the Pirates this year has been in Pittsburgh, and you saw the number, an under 2 ERA. Worked against them in April. Remember, that's when he left that game over there initially with that lat injury after 4 1/3, and then he won over there at the end of May. 8 innings of no-run, 1-hit baseball.
So really what you're looking at are 2 pitchers who have been dominant against teams in Pittsburgh. Cueto has owned the Pirates there. Liriano's owned everybody when he pitches in Pittsburgh. He's pitched especially well against the Reds. He's able to neutralize left-handers like nobody's business. I mean, he throws a lot of sliders, Liriano does, and he's been able to get the Reds hitters out quite easily this year. Left-handed hitters, that is. So it'll probably be a pitching-dominated game if you're going to look at it from that standpoint.
Over the mound. Cut off here. Nice play as Izturis handles it. Izturis has gone to shortstop with Henry Rodriguez now at second. Well, this will be the 5th start this year by Liriano against the Reds. 3 quality starts. And boy, this is the huge difference. We saw what his numbers overall were at home, and it mirrors that of what he's done against the Reds. 2 starts at home against the Reds, a 1.93. The 2 starts he made here against the Reds, a 6+ ERA. We can break it down all we want numbers wise, but by and large it's going to be, it seems like it's going to be a great game on Tuesday night.
Anytime you have a game where the loser goes home, the fans are into every pitch. Yeah. I mean, oohs and ahs on every delivery thrown that night. And right from the time that the teams take the field to loosen up and do batting practice, I mean, you'll feel the electricity in the air.
And again, that game on Tuesday night starts at 8:07, and it'll be on TBS.
Now the Reds will head into Pittsburgh tomorrow. They'll go in. They'll leave here about noon. They'll get into the afternoon into Pittsburgh. Then they're going to have a workout tomorrow evening at PNC Park, which is what you normally do in a playoff type series. You come in and you get a workout in if you can, if you have an off day, and then you go right to work on Tuesday.
And one way or the other, they will leave Pittsburgh Tuesday night, either headed to St. Louis or Atlanta, depending on who ends up with the best record in the National League, or if it turns out they lose that game, back here to Cincinnati and the season would be over. Reds Live will follow every Reds postseason game, of course, right here on Fox Sports Ohio. Immediately following any playoff game, simply flip over to Fox Sports Ohio for all the highlights and analysis from your local Reds broadcasters. Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro, Chris Welsh will be on hand. Reds Live in the postseason, presented by Reds Apple Ale. It'll be a little different, won't it, than being here at the ballpark while the game is going on out of town, being right there on site. Much better. After 2 out, a walk to the pitcher Compton, and now Felix P.A. over 3 in this game with a couple of called third strikes. Bats here in the top of the 6th. Reds have been out hit 7-2, outscored so far in this game 3-0. Arch comes after PA and gets him, and so center fielder of the Pirates has struck out 3 times today. For the largest selection of authentic postseason caps, t-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and more. Get your gear straight from the source. Reds.com/shop. Go back to that AT&T trivia question. How many postseason games have the Reds won against the Pirates? Tuesday's meeting will be the 21st. Reds have won 13, lost 7 in their years of postseason play against Pittsburgh. There's the breakdown for you. Only time the Pirates have won a series against the Reds was the NLCS of 1979. Pirates, of course, will be playing their first home playoff game in 21 years, dating all the way back to October the 10th, 1992, when they lost 6-4 to Atlanta in the NLCS that year. Last time they won a game during the playoffs at home, October the 9th, the day before, 1992 in Game 3. So been a long, long time for Pittsburgh without postseason baseball in that city. In fact, it'll be the first time ever at PNC Park. New pitcher, meanwhile, Stolmy Pimentel takes over.
Pimentel is a 23-year-old Dominican pitcher, originally signed by the Red Sox. He got traded over here last year in that deal that brought Mark Melanson, Abon de Jesus Jr. in exchange for Brock Holt and Joe Hanrahan. And of course, Melanson has been very important to the Pirates' success this year. He was a closer for a while Jason Grilly's been unavailable.
Well, Billy Hamilton will lead it off here in the bottom of the 6th. Light rain continuing to fall. Pirates lead 3-0. Hamilton took over for Chu back in the 3rd. Bounced for the first time today. Billy with his club at .389, 7 for 18 with an RBI. Pirates now have Gabby Sanchez playing third base. Andrew Lambo, who had that pinch hit home run yesterday, his first big league home run, is now playing out in left field. There's Sanchez. Hamilton swings at that one in the dirt, and he strikes out on 3 from Pimentel.
Hello, Bob's a pitch by pitch. Will be a quick one right here. 3 pitches is all it took for Pimentel to take care of Billy Hamilton. Fastball, changeup right there, then a slider down and in. And 1, 2, 3 it goes for Pimentel, and the first hitter that he faces. You know, Jim Couch, we have had one heck of a good year up here as far as eats go.
Yes,
We've
indeed.
been treated by so many of our good sponsors, taking care of the crew. And we want to send out a word of thanks to them. Individually, JTN, they brought their chuck wagon around last week and fed the entire crew, including a lot of the public service folks that work here at the ballpark. Papa John's regularly brings up pizzas for us, and so does Penn Station bring up their famous East Coast subs. So we thank all of them for their participation. It's been a great year to eat in the TV booth.
No question about it. I echo your thanks to those folks. Always making sure that our stomachs are not growling.
And speaking of eating, you know, we got to thank the staff that's in the media dining room. You know, Denise Thomas, she kind of headlines the whole thing, but Gwen Spikes is in there. Benita Young, Al Williams, Antoinette McDavis, and that's a great staff. And well, they don't not only take care of the radio and the TV crew, but the writers, the scouts, a lot of the young people that work in here in the front office as interns and so on, and they probably feed over 100 people a day, and they do a super job
with a smile on their face. They like to stir things up now a little bit, especially Denise.
Oh yeah,
she's the instigator of the group. Paul sends it down into the left field corner, and Lambo just took over out there in left for Tabata. Makes the catch of that ball for the second out. Friends of Fox Sports Ohio, I'd like to send out some special end of the season birthday wishes today. How about the Shirley Stump of Morrow, Ohio? She'll turn 80 years old tomorrow. Happy birthday, Shirley. Chester Whittemore of Blooming Drive, Indiana. Blooming Grove, Indiana. Also celebrating a birthday tomorrow. That'll be number 89. Edsel Smith of Overland Park, Kansas. 91 on Tuesday. Happy birthday to Shirley, to Chester, and to Edsel. Reds go in order. Bottom of the 6th. offense. That base hit by John Buck in the first inning made it 1-0 in favor of the Pirates as Jose Tabata scored the game's first run. They added one in the second on this ball. Bruce makes the diving attempt. Go! Comes up short. Can't get it. Goes all the way to the wall. That turns out to be an inside the park home run for Jordy Mercer. The first inside the park home run in this ballpark since the Cubs' Tony Campana did it back in August of 2011. And then the base hit by Josh Harrison scored Mercer. And it's 3-0 Pittsburgh. That's our Honda game summary. Last inside the park home run against the Reds by Tony Campana back in August of 2011. That was in Chicago, not in this ballpark. The last inside the park home run here by an opponent all the way back to 2005 when the Phillies' Chase Utley did it. Tony Campana, another fellow from the Cincinnati area. Because Andrew Lambeau had that pinch hit home run in the game yesterday for the Pirates. Came in the 6th inning. Made it 7-3 at the time, and he got the cold shoulder from his Pirate teammates as he entered the dugout. You've seen that happen before, and it's interesting.
It's fun too. And you want to know who's going to break it first. I mean, the cold shoulder is guy hits a home run, everybody just sits there like they waiting for the game to begin. And finally somebody would break the ice and give him a high five or slap him on the back.
Fair ball. Lambeau thought it was foul. He ran about a quarter of the way down the line. Soto makes the play. Well, all year long, Reds Live pregame has been brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. They've done a great job, and we appreciate them and their sponsorship this year. Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro down at the Fox Sports Ohio condominium here at home or right next to the dugout when the Reds are on the road. And once again, a big old thank you and a tip of the Reds cap to Ray St. Clair Roofing for their sponsorship of Reds Live pregame 2013. Here's Travis Snyder 0 for 3 today. We're in the 7th. Pittsburgh leads 3-0. Curtis Parks, his second inning worth of work. Greg Reynolds went 5, allowed 3 runs, 7 hits, on the hook in this game for the loss right now. Parks had a 4-batter 6th. Retires the leadoff man here in the 7th. Gabby Sanchez is on deck.
I wanted to correct something I said earlier, Jim. It was regarding the Cleveland Indians about them playing tonight. They're actually playing right now in Minnesota. They have fate in their own hands. If they win this afternoon, they go to the playoffs as a wild card team, and they are right now ahead of the Twins in the 4th inning, top of the 4th, 2-0.
Boy, that's been a heck of a September for them.
Boy, they've got what, 9 in a row?
9 in a row going into today, and they lead. Yeah. Tampa Bay, meanwhile, leading 7-0 at Toronto, so it really puts the onus on the Texas Rangers, who are playing at home at 3:05 or just about to start against the Angels. If the Indians go ahead and win, and if Tampa Bay goes ahead and wins, if Texas loses, they would be out, and it would be Tampa Bay and the Indians. Cleveland goes ahead and wins. Texas wins and Tampa Bay wins.
And we've got a 1-game play-in.
And you've got a 1-game
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then the wild card game to follow on Wednesday.
Correct.
Because the only game that will be played on Tuesday will be the National League wild card game. Reds and Pirates.
Sanchez bats with 2 out. And primarily used as a pinch hitter this year. We've seen him some at first base, the former Marlin. He took over at third for Pedro Alvarez, who was trying to get another home run today to claim the National League home run crown. He and Paul Goldschmidt tied at 36. That's a low total to be leading the league. In fact, no one has led the league with that few home runs since Fred McGriff did it back in 1992 when he hit 35. The crime dog. 1-2 2 on Sanchez. A long time since Curtis Parks has been in there. 19 days between appearances. He worked an inning and 2/3 against the Cubs on September the 10th. Has not been out to the mound since then. Broken bat to Izturis and on to first. So 1, 2, 3, 7. 2 innings with a good work there by Curtis Parks.
Of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Now reserve your spot today as a 2014 Red season ticket holder. Place your deposit for your season tickets and secure the best seats at the lowest prices for another action-packed season of Reds baseball. With only a $100 deposit, you can guarantee yourself huge savings plus exclusive benefits offered only to season ticket holders. Multiple packages are available, so lock in today. For details, visit reds.com/tickets. How about flashback moment number 2? Friday, September the 20th against the Pirates. There's that play we were talking about earlier. Wild throw by Jordy Mercer. Reds trailed that game. The start of that 3-game series in Pittsburgh. Kept it going here. They scored the tying runs on that ball hit by the catcher of the Reds, Mesoraco, that tipped off the glove of Alvarez and went into shallow left field. And then in the 10th inning, Joey Votto right down the left field line for the game-winning home run. Chapman closed it out with a strikeout. And the improbable win by the Reds a week ago Friday gave them the first game of that series in Pittsburgh. They went on to win 2 out of 3 in that series. Now the Pirates turning the table on the Reds in this weekend series here at Great American Ballpark. They won Friday, won Saturday. Lead today 3-0. That was a great moment, though. It's certainly worth a second look. Part of our flashback feature here today. Meanwhile, some interesting news going on down in Miami today.
Yeah, Henderson Alvarez is the pitcher for the Miami Marlins today. He has thrown 9 no-hit innings against the Detroit Tigers. Been a scoreless ball game. The Marlins are batting in the bottom of the 9th with 2 out and a couple of runners on base. So if they're able to deliver that run in from third base, Alvarez gets a no-hitter. Miami wins the game. And remarkably, Detroit, if Cleveland wins and Detroit loses this ball game, the Indians will finish 1 game back in the American League Central Division. And, you know, if you ask people that, they say, oh, no, the Tigers have run away with it this year.
Sure.
Just goes to show you those games you play early in the year. April, May, June, you let one get away here, you let another one get away there. Boy, they come back and you look at how important they could be in a situation like this.
You know, you get a team like the Indians playing so well at the end of the year. Who knows what might happen with them in the postseason?
You're right about that. In fact, they sent their scouts down to take a look at the Reds this weekend. Tim Belcher, former Cincinnati Red, and of course now a front office operative and scout for the Indians, is down here to fully report back to the Indians all about the Reds, go through their personnel. He's seen them an awful lot this year. It's good to see Belch. Belch was, speaking of no-hitters, he was the victim of the Tom Browning perfect game.
With the Dodgers back in '88. Yeah. Heisey batting here for the first time. Took the place of Jay Bruce. Chris Coghlan was up with 2 on and 2 out in the 9th, and he has drawn a walk, and so now the Marlins have an opportunity with the bases loaded, 2 out, to win that game in the bottom of the 9th. A no-hit bid by Henderson Alvarez if the Marlins and push across the winner in the bottom of the 9th. Heisey leading things off here. He has 9 home runs on the year. .234 average for him. He had a stint on the disabled list earlier this year with a right hamstring injury. Missed almost 2 months. Been active since the late days of June. Hits it toward the middle, but Harrison is there. And 1 out. Brandon Compton, the starter of the Pirates, went 5. No runs, 2 hits. Pimentel is in his 2nd inning of work. Well, the Marlins just won that game on a wild pitch.
So that makes the no-hitter a complete game no-hitter for Henderson Alvarez.
Sure does.
The Marlins win at 1-0. The Tigers now finish the season by being no-hit. Interesting turn of events down there in Miami.
A wild pitch with the bases loaded, and Miami wins that game 1-0, and Henderson Alvarez throws a no-hitter against the playoff-bound Detroit Tigers.
I can't remember even reading about a no-hitter that was secured that way, like in a walk-off win, where the home team pitcher pitched 9 innings of shutout no-hit baseball, and his own team was being shut out, and they had to win it in the 9th inning in order to get him a complete game no-hitter.
Crazy things happen, don't they?
That will send Joel Luckham to his computer to look that kind of stuff up. And we thank Joel for his work all year long. Boy, he has been tremendous this year. He really upped his game, and he gave us playoff caliber statistics all year long.
Yes, indeed. I will second that, to be sure. Hanahan batting for the first time. It took over 3rd for Frazier. He's quickly in the hole, 1-2. Reds have mustered just 2 hits in this game. A single by Historis in the 3rd, and a leadoff double by Cozart in the 5th inning. Down 3-0. Of course, this is the first time back-to-back playoff years for the Reds since the Big Red Machine years of '75, '76. first time back-to-back 90 wins seasons since 78, 79. So a lot certainly has been accomplished so far in 2013, but much more hopefully on the horizon. Lambeau will handle this ball for out number 2. As we've encouraged you all season long, we invite you to stay with us after the game. Fox Sports Ohio will break it down. Get the first comments from manager Dusty Baker. That's Reds Live post-game, brought to you today and all season long by Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Jeff Pocoro heading up our coverage today. He'll be down at the Fox Sports Ohio condominium on the third base side. Those rabid Reds fans will be all over him down there. Henry Rodriguez batting with 2 out. For Henry, his first at bat of the game. Got in there yesterday, struck out in the 9th inning. Henry has but 1 hit so far since his call up from Louisville at the end of the year. Hits this ball hard, but Lambeau backpedaling handles it. So the Reds go in order for the 4th time here this afternoon. Now the #1 ranked pediatric cancer center in the country, according to the U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospitals, and by Chevy. Stop into your Tri-State Chevy dealer today and check out their full line of fuel-efficient vehicles. Overcast Sunday afternoon here in Pittsburgh on this 29th day of September. Here in Cincinnati, I should say. Reds and the Pirates. And Pirates leading this game 3-0. Another sellout crowd today. So 3 games against the Pirates, 3 sellouts announced. Today's crowd 40,142. 4142, marking the 16th sellout of the year, and it is a new Great American Ballpark record for a number of sellouts in a season. And of course, on Friday, the Reds set a new Great American Ballpark all-time attendance record. And they end the year 2,492,059. 2,492,059. And this is the 11th year, a new Great American Ballpark attendance record. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations to the fans that came out. I mean, congratulations to the ball club for providing a lot of exciting baseball. The front office that did an excellent job in marketing and reaching out to fans and getting people out here. Some of them for the first time this year, and many that will come back over and over again. Reds just do it right when it comes to marketing this product out in the marketplace.
Keep in mind, this team falls, what, just under 8,000 shy of 2.5 million, and that's with one less date than they should have had due to that rain out against San Francisco that had to be played out there. So, yes, indeed. Big time congratulations to everybody involved. Meanwhile, Nick Christiani is into the game for the Reds, replacing Curtis Parch. Young man spent the year at Louisville. Another one like Parch who hasn't appeared in a long time. He's throwing to a new catcher. Corky Miller replaces Ryan Hannigan. Cristiani's made 2 appearances this year with the Reds. His debut back on the 23rd of August against Milwaukee. And then that September 10th appearance against the Cubs, in which he worked an inning and 2/3. And he, like Parch, has not pitched in a game since the 10th. They follow one another here. Bomb by Jones to right center will make it 4-0. That falls just shy of that PNC power stack on the right out there in right center field. Garrett Jones hits number 15, and it is 4-0 Pittsburgh.
Well, Garrett Jones was an everyday player for this ball club for most of the season, and he had made 4 outs in 3 previous plate appearances, hit into a ground ball double play in the 3rd inning, but that is a no-doubter. I mean, when he gets his pitch, that guy is strong. Little fastball down out over the plate, just where lefties like him.
Here now is Jordy Mercer. Here's that inside the park home run he hit as our Nissan drive of the game back in the 2nd inning. Calculated risk there by Bruce. Came up short on the dive. Nobody behind him. A long way to the wall for that ball. And Mercer gets the inside the park home run. First in this ballpark since 2005 when Chase Utley, the Phillies, did it. That was right near the end of the season also. 25th of September. Here's an interesting note on the inside the park home run and the triple in the same game against the Reds by Jordy Mercer. The first time it's been done since our good friend Doug Flynn, when he was with the Mets, did it on June the 12th, 1979. Inside the park home run and a triple against the Reds.
Did Doug Flynn call up and provide that information? How do you find something like that?
Leave it to our stat man extraordinaire, Joel Lucca.
Smokes.
I think Doug called and said, "Hi, how's everybody doing today?" Hey,
as he always does.
You know what? I had a inside the park home run and a triple against the Reds once. Really? When was it? June 12, 1979. Just thought I'd call and say hi. Mercer gets himself a base hit here, so he is a double shy of the cycle. He probably, hopefully, won't get another at bat. Now Josh Harrison bats. Cristiani has come on, gotten the ground ball off the bat of Buck. Booming home run by Garrett Jones. A single by Mercer. Pirates battling their way to 94 wins. They can get it here today. It would also be the most wins they've had since that 1992 season when they put up 96. They had 3 straight years, 95, 98, 96 wins back in 90, 91, and 92, but obviously nothing approaching that since this year. Read an interesting note, in fact, that saying they are making the playoffs out of the National League Central for the first time. The last time they made the playoffs, there was no such thing as the National League Central. They were in the NL East back in those days. Of course, the Reds and the Pirates played each other so often because the Reds were then in the West. Central started in 1994, 3 division play. implemented under the regime of Bud Selig, whom we talked about on Friday, announced that he will be stepping down late January of 2015. Commissioner of this game of baseball since 1992.
A lot of guys talking in the clubhouse about the pros and cons of the one-game playoff. And, you know, some people are for it, some people are not for it, you know, the extra wild card. And I had to remind some of the younger players, I see, you know, there was a time when there were only 2 divisions in the National League. And, you know, more recently, like in '93 or so, they had 7 teams in each division. You go back beyond that, there were 8 teams in each division a long time ago. And it was hard to win a division. You could win 93 games and come in 3rd and get nothing for it at all.
Smoke to the shortstop is Torres. Rodriguez and Soto turn it 6-4-3. Nicely done indeed right there.
Breakaway and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to 3rd. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the 2nd time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter.
Of course, that's our #1 flashback of this 2013 season so far. Homer Bailey's 2nd no-hitter coming against the San Francisco Giants on July the 2nd. A 3-0 win in that game. 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, getting Gregor Blanco to ground out to Frazier to end that game, putting that as no-hitter #2, as you heard Tom Brenneman's call. The first one, of course, September the 28th a year ago against the Pittsburgh Pirates over in Pittsburgh. And I say, #1 flashback, #1 moment of this season so far, because we hope that there's some moments to come in the postseason, to be sure. New pitcher on for Pittsburgh to work the bottom of the 8th inning, their 3rd of this game, Genmar Gomez.
Well, he's been a starter and a reliever so far this year. Gomez has been in 34 ball games now, including today. 79 innings, good earned run average. He has started 8 games. Gomez has a hard-throwing right-hander from Caracas, Venezuela.
Derek Robinson will bat for Cristiani, leading things off here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Well, you saw in the pregame, and they'll do it in the postgame as well. Thank you to all the crew that have been able to give their best effort, bring these telecasts to you for Reds baseball all year, starting in spring training. I think there was one spring training telecast, and the 145, 46, 47, whatever it's been throughout the regular season. You see us and hear us, but there's so many people who work so hard behind the scenes, and we've been trying to make sure that you see them and know that the work that they do is so very vital to getting these telecasts on. And just a special tip of the cap to the crew that work here in the booth. Joel Luckup, Chris, you mentioned, our statistician to our left. Jim Strickler, who runs the camera 99% of the time up here in the booth. And, of course, our stage manager, Jesse Jackson, who works behind us and tries to keep us on the straight and narrow all the time. And big thank you to those guys.
No doubt about it. Great crew to work with.
And we say those thank yous also for the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, who's here a lot, and Tom Brenneman. Jim Day has been in this chair as well. Dickie Moss, who's our A2 audio guy in the booth here all the time. Not up here today, or not up here right now, but he's up here all the time as well. Our producer, Josh Hall, pre and post game producer most of the time. Kent Dreamweaver and all the folks down in the truck. And a special big thanks goes out to the man who dials up the highlights down in the truck. Matt Sigafus. Deep into right center field. Hit well. That'll bounce in for a double. Bounce in for a double for Cesar Izturis, who was a single and a double today. And so for the first time in this game, the Reds get a runner over to third base.
I'll tell you what, Cesar Izturis doesn't get a lot of playing time, but it just seems like when he gets to play, he's able to put the bat on the ball. Signed mainly as a guy that can play defense. He can play all around the infield and very well defensive at every infield position. And he nearly leaves the yard right there with the one that hops into the stands.
Smashed by third by Corky Miller is going to get the Reds on the board. Boy, oh boy, he had a huge game the last time we saw him here against the Dodgers, and he pulls that pitch down the left field line against the offering of Genmar Gomez, scoring both Robinson and Izturis, and Corky Miller drives in two to make it 4-2.
Now, Genmar Gomez has faced three hitters, and every one of them has hit the ball very hard. This pitch right down the alley for Corky, and he rips it by the third baseman, Gabby Sanchez.
Well, he's been playing pro baseball a long time, Corky Miller, and you never know. That could be his final major league at bat. We don't know if he's going to play anymore. He really hasn't made any sort of an announcement about 2014.
Never does.
But if it is, a heck of a way to go out right there.
He's probably come to camp the last few years thinking, well, if I don't make the team, I'm going to become a coach. Well, he makes the team, or at least the AAA team, and did that again this year. Every year we hear rumors of Corky's finally going to be a coach.
Right when it looked like he may go back down in early August once Hannigan came off the DL. Corky had a little leg injury himself on a play at the plate against Oakland. So he went on the disabled list. So by and large, he's been on the big leagues for half of this 2013 season. All three catches have worked today, starting with Mesoraco, then Hannigan, and now Corky. Billy Hamilton lays down the bunt. They fire to first in time to get him. It does move Corky Miller over to third. And they will give a sacrifice bunt to Hamilton that goes 1-3.
Well, he stayed right in there, and he bunted the ball first before he ran. And, of course, it was bang, bang at first base. Nice play by the pitcher to get the ball and get him, and got him just by a hair.
That bunt by Hamilton puts Miller in to third, 90 feet away. Corky has 4 doubles now in his last 5 at-bats and 5 RBIs in those ABs. How about that? Now here is Xavier Paul, who flied out his last time. Reds hadn't scored since they scored 3 times in the 3rd inning yesterday. 13 straight innings without a run. Snapped here in the 8th inning today with a 2-run double by Corky Miller. Now trail at 4-2. Tying run is Paul.
Now, if Paul is going to hit a fly ball to score Corky Miller, he ought to hit it medium to deep fly ball. In fact, the longer the better.
To the warning track, maybe.
Or in the seats.
That'd be nice for Paul. He's had a pretty good year in terms of the home run ball for the Reds in 2013. He has 7 of them. Neftali Soto is on deck. He's not yet hit in this game. Pardon me, he has hit once and grounded out. Hopefully he can get up there and get his first big league hit. That's ball 3. So a full count to Paul with Soto next. Pittsburgh scored single runs in the 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 8th to take a 4-0 lead. The Reds have come up with 2 in the bottom of the 8th and the 2-run double by Corky Miller. Now Paul at the plate representing the tying run. Ball 4. Well, the second walk given to the Reds today. What an opportunity for Neftali Soto. 0 for 1 today, 0 for 11 this year in the big league, still gunning for his first big league hit. Now for the first time today we see Ray Searage, pitching coach of the Pirates, out of the dugout. Soto grounded out, taking over for Joey Votto at first base back in the 6th inning. Jared Hughes, meanwhile, is throwing in the Pirate bullpen. Decent year this year for Soto at AAA Louisville. A .271 average with 15 home runs and 61 runs batted in. As he burst onto the Red scene 2011 when he hit 31 homers between AA and AAA. Here he is with 2 on, 1 out, representing the go-ahead run. .24 years old, Neftali Soto from Puerto Rico. 3rd round pick by the Reds back in 2007. Made his big league debut earlier this year in Philadelphia back in May, grounded out. Double play ball toward the middle. There's 1. There's 2. A double play hit into by Soto puts an end to the Reds in the 8th inning. They get a couple. We go to the 9th. 4-2 Pirates. takes us to September the 17th down in Houston. Remember this? Between the legs, tag by Phillips. Jonathan VR trying to stretch that single into a double. Brendan said, I wasn't even aware he was coming. That's the only play I had. Boy, that got some major play on the internet, didn't it?
I didn't know we were going to get a chance to see it again today.
Well, considering it is our producer Josh Hall's favorite play of the entire 2013 season, is it any wonder we saw it again?
Well, that explains a lot.
That's our Miller Time moment of the night, brought to you by Miller Lite. He's been able to play through what was a very light rain here this afternoon in Cincinnati. Reds now down 4-2. They'll bring on another pitcher. Nick Christiani gave up a run on the homer by Garrett Jones. And now Zach Duke, another fellow who's spent a lot of time with Louisville this year, comes in.
Zach Duke, with what he has done up here with the Reds so far this year, may have really revived his major league career. That being down in Louisville the majority of the season. He asked for his release, was granted that, went out to look for other jobs out there among other teams. There was no interest. The Reds asked him, do you want to come back? He said yes. Next thing you know, he gets called up to the major leagues, and he's pitched pretty well.
He pitches to the pitcher, Gomez, leading it off. Henry Rodriguez handles it, so 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 9th inning.
Here's our whiff of the day, brought to you by Head & Shoulders, now with a hit of Old Spice. Out. It was Felix P.A. who was kind enough to be our guest whiffer this afternoon. He goes up and down 3 times, a couple of times looking his first 2 strikeouts, and then a swing and a miss for his 3rd strikeout. That was against Curtis Parch. And that is our whiff, brought to you by Head & Shoulders with a hint of Old Spice. We thank Procter & Gamble and Head & Shoulders for their patronage this year.
And I should say that was Tony Sanchez that hit for Genmar Gomez. Tony Sanchez pinch hit, popped up. So the Pirates will employ a new pitcher come the bottom of the 9th inning. PA leads it off now. Felix PA 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Hamilton runs this ball down. Boy, he got a good jump on that ball.
Covers a lot of ground out there.
Nicely done by Billy Hamilton out in center field.
Something man that made a defensive position switch this year. He came up as an infielder, mainly as a shortstop. He's got a very good arm. Of course, he's got the legs to control center field. And I think the more you see him play, the more you will just be impressed that he has the tools to be one of the best center fielders in all of baseball.
So 2 quick outs by Zach Duke. Now Andrew Lambeau bounced out to first base, is only at bat in this game. Bats here in the top of the 9th with 2 men gone. Reds in the bottom of the 9th will have Heisey, Hanahan, and Henry Rodriguez. Trailing hopefully no more than 4-2. Duke is one of those guys that you wonder, will he or will he not be on the Reds wild card game roster? How many left-handers will the Reds decide to go with? If they indeed use Manny Parra, will it be Duke? Will it be Sean Marshall? Figures to be Marshall the way he has pitched. Will they want another lefty in Duke? Toward the right of the second baseman, a bare hand pick by Rodriguez, who then lost it trying to come back and make the throw. That's an infield hit for Lambeau. Will the Reds want an extra catcher, meaning 3 catchers on the postseason roster, at least for the wild card game and beyond? And does that mean then that Corky Miller would be a guy? All sorts of questions, aren't there? What the makeup of the roster will be for Tuesday's game, the wild card game in Pittsburgh. Again, 8:07 first pitch. You can see it on TBS. hear it on the Reds radio network. Travis Snyder 0 for 4. Kyle Farnsworth, right-hander, throwing in the Pittsburgh bullpen. He'll come on to try to save this game for Brandon Compton. It's Farnsworth who gave up the big home run ball to Joey Votto a week ago Friday over there in Pittsburgh. Turned out to be the winner in that game for the Reds. Farnsworth no stranger to closing. Wasn't that long ago, 2 years ago, that he saved 25 games for Tampa Bay. Not the closer on this Pirate team. Now full count to Snyder. Swing and a miss. Duke hangs a 0 here in the top of the 9th, and so the final half inning of the regular season coming up, bottom of the 9th. We'll go back to the 18th of April here against the Miami Marlins. Todd Frazier, a home run, significant because of that young man. Teddy Kramer, bat boying that day. Look at Teddy. He is more excited than Frazier. Gives him the big bear hug and gets the lift off the ground here. Inspirational to say the least.
What a great moment and a great time that Todd Frazier, the entire Reds organization, brought Ted Kramer in here, and it has really changed a lot of things, a lot of attitudes, and put a smile on everybody's face every time he comes around. That was really a great story here in 2013 for this Reds team.
Yeah, big deal was made of it on television, and there was a special about it, in fact. And in fact, Teddy works now here for the Reds in customer relations.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's super.
Kyle Farnsworth, one save on the year, tries to save it for Brandon Compton as we work into the bottom of the 9th. Reds have Heisey to lead things off. Farnsworth's save this year came down in Texas on September the 11th. Last worked against the Cubs on the 24th, 5 days ago.
And he came up actually as a starter for the Chicago Cubs in 1999, Farnsworth. And always an incredibly hard thrower. Big guy from Wichita, Kansas. I mean, he was throwing the ball up around 100 miles an hour before it became anywhere near so common. They shifted him in to be a reliever in 2000 for the Cubs. He spent several years there, was with Detroit. In fact, he's been with the Tigers twice. He's been with the Atlanta Braves twice, separated by about 4 years. Spent 3 years with the Yankees. Last few seasons with the Tampa Bay Rays, and here he is in Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay here in 2013.
Yeah, the Rays released him in August, and he was signed 5 days later by the Pirates. Released on the 11th, signed on the 16th of August this year. He works here in the bottom of the ninth. He's had one at bat in this game. He popped up. Took over in right field for the starter, Jay Bruce. And he'll line it by the diving shortstop Mercer and on into center. So the Reds will bring the tying run to the plate in the bottom of the ninth in the person of Jack Hanahan. I mentioned it was Farnsworth who gave up the home run ball to Joey Votto in the top of the 10th inning Friday the 20th over there in Pittsburgh after the Reds had battled back to score 3 in the ninth to tie that game at 5. We saw that flashback earlier, and then Votto's home run in the 10th was the game winner against this big right-hander. "37 years old now, Farnsworth. Well, we certainly hope that this will not be the last home game that is played here at Great American Ballpark this year. In order for that to continue, however, the Reds will need to win the game Tuesday, and they would get at least one home game during the NLCS. Whether that be against the Braves or the Cardinals. The Cardinals lead 3-0 in the 6th inning at home against the Cubs. Braves lead 10-4. If the Cardinals win that game, it's a moot point as to what Atlanta does. St. Louis would end up with a #1 record in the National League, and they would be the opponent that awaits the winner of Tuesday's wild card game. They're trying to be the #1 seed. Last time a #1 seed in the National League postseason made it to the World Series, it was back in 04 when the Cardinals did it. Hanahan flied out his only time at the plate in this game. 0 for 1. Cleveland leads 4-0. Bottom of the 6th at Minnesota. Tampa Bay in the 8th leading 7-4 at Toronto. And the Angels have taken a lead early against the Texas Rangers. That does not bode well for Ron Washington's club down there in Texas. Missed out on winning the division title last year on the last day. And then were defeated in the wild card game. They're trying to get back to that this year. Cleveland wins. Tampa Bay wins. Texas loses. It'll be Cleveland and Tampa Bay in the American League wild card game Wednesday evening. Two and two now to Hanahan. Henry Rodriguez next. Ball 3. A little drama here. Bottom of the 9th inning. Game number 1, 6-2. Leadoff hit by Heisey. 3-2 to Hanahan. Pittsburgh leading 4-2. Bottom of the ninth. Smash to the second baseman. There's one. There's two. Boy, you can't hit that ball much harder than Hanahan hit it, but unfortunately, one step to the left of Josh Harrison.
That's just bad luck right there for Hanahan. Had a pretty good at bat overall, but he hits it right on the button. That's DP lane all the way.
Second one turned by the Pirates today. So now the regular season comes down to Henry Rodriguez. Hit the ball hard, but out into left. Back in the seventh, taking over at second base. And as Turris started at second and moved on over to short. Pirates trying to complete the sweep of this final series of the regular year. These two teams will play Tuesday night in Pittsburgh in the National League Wild Card playoff game with a right to move into the National League Division Series against either St. Louis or Atlanta. American League Wild Card game is Wednesday. National League Division Series that the Reds would potentially be involved in begins on Thursday. Next potential Reds home game would be a week from today. That would be game 3 of the National League Division Series. In order to get that, they need to win on Tuesday. A heck of a sports Sunday actually here in town. Bengals are home, I believe, next Sunday. The Reds would be home also. Single, a double play, and now a 2-strike count on Rodriguez in the bottom of the ninth. Henry Rodriguez strikes out, putting an end to the 2013 regular season, with the Reds losing this game by the final score of 4-2. The Pirates sweep the 3-game series. They will finish second in the National League Central at 94 and 68. The Reds third at 90 and 72. And these two teams will get together on Tuesday for the National League Wild Card game at 8:07 PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Well, it wasn't the best, of course, of finishes. The Reds lose the final 3 here. They lose 5 in a row to end the regular season, but they'll have new life come Tuesday against this same Pirate bunch. I invite you to stay with us now. Reds Live post game presented by King's Honda. Jeff Vaccaro has all the coverage next.